Welcome to Inside the Thin Blue Line. I'm Dave Rattigan here every week, twice a week for our episodes, and with me is Dale Lawrence, retired police officer and all-around good guy who doesn't trust anybody.
Dave wanted to do 3 times a week, but it was like, no way am I going to hang out with Dave Rattigan 3 days a week.
You've got
two's enough, baby.
You've got your standards. We should mention that Dale is not his real name, and we're protecting his identity because
and my pension, protecting my pension and my house,
protecting his pension, his house, his reputation, his family. All these things, because he knows that as more and more listeners come to the podcast, when we get up to 3 and 4 listeners, there's going to be just a giant.
I think we got about 180, 200, Dave, believe it or not.
180, 200?
Unless it's 3 people listening to it 50 times a whack.
Nobody listens to us twice. Anyway, for today, what we're going to start out with a current event. Then we're going to talk a little bit about something from your personal experience. And then finally, we're going to get into the meat of the podcast, which is going to be a discussion of jurisdiction, cooperation, and temperament, all in the context of your, I would guess we would call him Dale's crime-fighting model, Barney Fife. And we'll be talking about that as we go on. But we'll start with the current events. 3 Washington, D.C. police officers are under criminal and administrative investigations after that pesky social media videos.
Oh, yep. Can't get away from that.
They surfaced to show one of them repeatedly punching a man in the face while the other 2 restrain him during an arrest. And that seems kind of unfair when they don't let police just punch somebody while 2 others hold them.
I wish it was that simple. I mean, so 2 weeks ago we had Chief Conti from the DC Police. We had a podcast with him on there. No, he wasn't on there personally because we don't know him, but we had an audio clip and he was talking about just the random shootings, how they were invading the middle-class neighborhoods. They're not just... they're not just in the bad neighborhoods nowadays. So I guess 3 of his officers were in a bad neighborhood, and they were dealing with a drug issue, a man selling drugs. And as they confronted the man, he became verbally argumentative. Then he became physically, what's the word I'm looking for?
Physically uncooperative?
Physically uncooperative. There you go. Physically uncooperative. So they tried to place him under arrest, and they felt a handgun on his waistband. Okay. So the video shows 2 police officers holding the man, telling him to give him the gun. Don't reach for the gun. He's resisting. So the 3rd police officer closed fist punched him in the face. Now, I think from a layman looking at that, you're not going to agree with that. But from my perspective, if someone is physically resisting, they have a handgun on them in their waistband and they're wearing a pair of sweatpants or shorts. Mm-hmm. At what point do you not use some force to regain control of that person? Because all it takes is a split second for him to grab that handgun. And if there's 3 cops within a foot of him, he pulls the trigger on that handgun. Someone could get shot, if not killed. So I personally don't agree with the chief in this situation where he's selling his cops down the river. I don't agree with this at all.
And here's his statement. I am embarrassed, disturbed, disheartened, and ashamed of what I've seen. If the man is struggling, is the problem that it's interesting to me because it sort of hits that, like, where's the line that you draw? Do you have to have the man have the handgun in his hand and you have to warn him and he's got to respond yes or no?
You know something? That's where it's at right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
And so what do? Do you pull your gun and point it at him, which is going to look bad on video because if you're close enough to punch him, probably even I could probably hit him with a gun.
And in that situation, you couldn't have used pepper spray because if you had pepper sprayed him, you would have pepper sprayed the 2 cops. Could you have used the taser? Probably not, because the cops they were wrapped up with this guy, and you might have tased one of the cops. Yeah. Now it's two cops against one volatile criminal.
If I tase somebody, like if you're holding somebody,
no, you're not supposed to get a contact shock out of it.
You're not supposed to.
No.
But what I might do is I might get you instead of him.
Yeah, absolutely, you could.
Okay.
Yeah, if you pull the trigger on the taser and one of the little taser wires hits him and then it hits you, and you pull the trigger on the taser, you're gonna get both of them.
Yeah.
So it's in that type of situation, you have to go hands on. You have to use some sort of a wrestling technique, a grappling. You got to grab the guy. It's hot out. People are sweaty. You can't grip the guy. There's a lot of things that are going on there.
So if a guy is struggling, even if it's 3 against 1, even if it's 3 against 1, if a guy is
strong, people are stronger than they look.
I get that, and some of these people, yeah, all right. Some people are stronger. I mean, I've fought a lot of people that looked a lot stronger when they were beating me up than when they were. So how come you can't punch him in the face? I mean, you're supposed to comply.
You can use.
They're not complying. He's struggling against you, which means he's not complying. All right. So to me, that would be the law. That would be the line, rather. That would be the line. It's like if somebody, you're not supposed to give somebody, well, I'm going to count to 3. I'm going to,
count to 3.
I'm going to count to 3.
Put your hands up because I'm going to punch you in the face.
Yeah. But just the idea of somebody's in if they're struggling against the cop, all right, that to me would be the line. Once you're struggling and not complying, and the cops have asked you, did the cops say to him, you're under arrest or anything like that?
Yeah, show us your hands, comply, don't fight us.
Why can't you punch him in the face?
You know something? All cop training, whenever you go online right now, go on YouTube and search cop hands-on training. Yeah. And you're going to have cops punching bags. Cops are going to get sprayed in the face, and they're going to run a gauntlet of other cops, and they're going to be punching little punching bags, and they're going to teaching them kicking techniques and techniques with their batons and stuff like that. Cops are taught, I wouldn't say martial arts, but they're taught some hands-on skills, because when it comes down to it, everyone has a right to go home. As a cop, you have a right to go home alive.
Right.
You shouldn't have to take a beating just because you're a cop. Just beat the shit out of me.
So why is the chief throwing them?
I unfortunately, I don't know these 3 cops. Are these 3 cops, have they always been in trouble? Do they have a track record? I mean, you don't know that. You don't know the backstory. So assuming there's no backstory, and assuming that the chief is a political appointee, then he's just covering his own ass, because he's fallen into the role of politics. And we go back to a couple of podcasts we talked about the other time. The worst cops, the worst leaders as cops are ones who want to be politicians, because they will not back their men, regardless of whether their men are 100% right, 50% right. If they're wrong, you're not going to back them. But that one right there is up for debate. If he didn't have a weapon on him, if there was no gun, no knife, no weapon, no axe, no baseball bat, no weapon at all, and they were punching him when he was resisting, then I'd say they're definitely at fault. And if I was the chief, I wouldn't probably back him either. Okay. But the fact that there's a handgun there, all within reach of everyone, all right?
Yeah.
Then to me, he probably should have said nothing and said it's under investigation.
Yeah, that's
and
what
we'll go from there.
Or this, even if he says this looks bad, but we want to gather all the facts.
We want to get all the video. We want to interview whoever was there. Not to say that all his friends, the bad guy's friends, are going to have one view and the cops are going to have another view. But the video that I saw, it didn't look excessive.
I should
with
say
the gun in the equation.
I did not see the video. When again, if you can't, pretty soon you're not going to be able to, as a cop, you're not going to be able to punch anybody in the face. It's going to be terrible. Nobody will want to do it.
But you want to know something? If that's what people want, if that's what they want, and someone randomly, you're in a store and someone's holding up the store and the cops show up and the cop hesitates because he's afraid of getting sued, and the person shoots a couple of innocent people in the parking lot, a mother and a kid going in there to buy some cookies at 10 o'clock at night and some milk, then guess what? That's what you want. Unfortunately, innocent people are going to get hurt with these criminals because they don't care. We've said that 100 times. They don't care. They don't care about they shooting a mother or a 10-year-old kid or an elderly lady. They don't care.
Right.
They just want to be in control. They want to get out of that situation. If you're going to stop them, whether you're a cop, whether you're a car blocking them in, whatever the scenario is, they're going to act violently toward whoever's there. And if the cop hesitates, some innocent person will get hurt.
Well, this is one of the things about, let's say, the criminal psyche. I don't know if the criminal psyche is the right term, but just the idea that there's a desperation, in this case, a desperation, let's say, to escape. And he may not be thinking about what's going to happen in a year. He just wants to get out of that, or a week. He just wants to get out of that situation right now. So the idea that somebody gets shot, well, he did what he had to do.
Absolutely.
And that's one of the mantras that I hear all the time. There are a couple of mantras that I hate because it says basically, we have no respect for ethics. We have no respect for law, and it's you do what you have to do is one, and then the other one is it's just business. And if anyone ever tells me, whenever they start with your friendship means so much to me in a business relationship, if ever I hear somebody say your friendship means more to me than the business, I know that eventually it's going to be followed by them trying to do something behind my back and then saying it's just business.
It's just business. When money's involved, and if you do a comedy gig, Dave, and the guy promised you 500 and he says, well, gee, Dave, we only had a half capacity. I'm only going to give you 250. It's just business. Although you're disrespected, you might not go there again. You're going to have to live with it. Right. But when someone gets shot or gets stabbed and, hey, it's just business, that's completely sociopathic.
I know some comedians I'd like to shoot and stab. So, and I definitely know some bookers. All right. So, here's something from Mystic, Connecticut, your own personal experience. You and I don't agree on things, or your viewpoint of this is very different. This is a case where it's actually, I think we're simpatico. You had a personal experience in Mystic, Connecticut. Let me know about that one.
Yeah, so I was in Mystic, Connecticut recently, and there was an arts fest, and we were walking through the arts fest, a lot of people peddling their things you don't need, photos, underwater photos, and knitted handbags and all sorts of other garbage. And we ran into a booth.
Hold on. You were at this arts fest, because this is really funny to me.
Arts fest.
I know how artistic you are.
Yeah.
And what an artsy person you are. Who were you with? Because people are going to hear this and they're going to think, oh, he was probably dragged out by his wife.
I was with a bunch of Marines. It's therapy.
Bunch of artists.
Yeah, our counselor said, hey, art therapy. You guys go for art therapy in Mystic, Connecticut.
I'm sorry. So go ahead.
All right, so we're walking. There's a gauntlet of people selling stuff, and there was a guy. He had a big poster. There was some Toyota dealership, and he was selling raffle tickets, $100 raffle tickets for a chance to win some really nice Toyota. It was a sports car. I don't know the type of it, but it was a really nice car. Worth about $45,000.
Okay.
And I looked at it, and there was a couple of cops from that area. They were asking him, they're saying, so where are you actually from? Because that dealership is like 30 miles away. I think it was a dealership in Rhode Island, but he's in Connecticut selling raffle tickets. So my gut instinct was, they're like, who's this con artist setting up a booth, drives a car here, shines it all up, makes a little poster of a Toyota dealership in Rhode Island, and he's selling raffle tickets and people are buying them. And I said, what a great scam. I want to do that. I'm going to get a nice car. I'm going to shine it up. I'm going to go into some arts fest or wherever they're selling stuff. I'll get myself a permit from that town. I'll make a fake poster and I'll sell the tickets and I'll drive that car out of there. No one's going to win the lottery except me, baby. That's a great scam.
It is a great scam. And because it also mirrors a legitimate,
because that's definitely legitimate fundraisers.
But here's what's missing from that.
What's that?
The organization. Usually, the groups that the Plastow Lions Club in New Hampshire had a Harley. They were doing the same thing for a raffle for a Harley. They took the Harley around to all their events during the year. They sold the tickets. I think it was $100. Obviously, up in New Hampshire, motorcycles